Welcome everyone to the first class of Block 3 for the advanced group. We're going to be looking at Lilac and Dave the Watchman by lovely Toon van Mierlo of Naragonia. I've been doing my homework and I wanted to make sure that we can really get into the nuts and bolts of this gorgeous tune. It is probably my favourite of their tunes. Brings me to tears. Literally, I cried when they played it for the first time when I was at a ball of theirs, 2018, I think, the first time I saw them. And yeah, I needed tissues that night. Same for Les Deux Frères as well. It was like, oh, this is beautiful, amazing. So, I actually want to start by dancing a little bit. I hope that's okay. If you have any physical ailments that means you can't, I'm not going to force you to get up, but you can do it in your seat, and it's just a matter of shifting your weight. So I'll stand up and reposition the camera, and I'm also going to share the audio. I'll teach you the steps first. This is, by the way, this type of this tune is a Hanter Dro, which is a type of Breton dance, I believe. Catherine might know more as a authentic Belgian. But although I know Breton is not in Belgium, I didn't mean that. But you are closer. So let me just check what you can see. I'm going to point you down at my feet. I promise they're clean. And we will see what happens. Go to the bottom camera. There we go. Brilliant. So, Hanter Dros are very simple dances, just like a lot of Breton dances. They are done in circles or lines, so you would be sort of holding hands with your next door neighbour. And it's a very simple footwork pattern. So, over 6 beats in the bar, you are stepping 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you end up stepping for 3, pausing for 1, and then stepping back for 2. So the leading foot is your left foot, or if you want to, as I say, kind of just sit and wiggle your bum. So you'll be doing left, right, left, pause. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the 5, 6 is just resting back on your right foot. And you've got to imagine that you are gradually shuffling round a circle, so there will be a small progression the next time that you move, but obviously on the spot you don't progress. So let's I tell you what, I'm just going to press play and walk, because it's one of these things that is literally it for the dance steps, so you don't have a lot to learn and the music just carries on. So I'll just keep Lovely. Good. Now, that might have been really messy, because I know you couldn't see my feet. I'm really sorry. Is that the case? Somebody on mute tell me. Could you see my feet? Could you not? Oh.
See your feet. I could hear what you were saying. I think you were saying something.
No, I couldn't see your feet, and I couldn't hear what you were saying, so I was a bit lost.
Shit. Well,
and I almost overbalanced because my left leg's shorter than my right leg.
I could see your feet, but I couldn't hear what you were saying. But that was fine. Worked it out.
Okay, as long as you could see some form of timing along with the music, all right. So a little bit of a shoddy start, perhaps, with the technology failing there. So just to double check we're all on the same page, we can do this seated and we can do this standing. Oh, it's 6 beats in the bar. It's a 6/4 rhythm, which is similar to a 3/2 hornpipe, but I don't want you to think of it like that because it doesn't have that feeling. If you manage to get the steps to fit with the melody, I feel that it's a little bit, it's a quirky melody with the way that it fits with the dance. The phrasing of the dance for me fits over 2 bars. So it kind of, at the end of bar 1, it sort of leaves you in a bit of a limbo, but then you land at the end of bar 2 and it's like, oh, okay, so you feel right, if that makes sense. Hopefully, you know, we've all got dance experience, or we've all played for dance. We understand how the two fit together, even if we don't do it a lot ourselves. So over those beats, counting it's quite quick. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, da da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the 5, 6 is when you step back onto your right foot. So you've got a left, right, left, pause, back, and left, right, left, pause, back, and left, right, left, and back, and left, right, left, pause, back, left, right, left, pause, back, left, right, left, pause, back, da, 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 and Hanter Dro, and Hanter Dro, and da, 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 da. Okay? And then with the music, da ba da ba da, da ba da ba da, da ba da da ba da. Can you see what I mean? Just that's the first 2 bars of the tune. For me, in the middle of the 2 bars, I'm like, oh, I'm a bit lost. But then it picks you up again and it puts you back down at the end of bar 2. So you end up with that da ba da ba da, da ba da ba da, da ba da da ba da, ba da ba da. Da ba da ba da. Yeah, does that? Am I making sense? Can people understand how there's that little bit of suspension in the middle of the phrase, in the middle of the 2-bar phrase? Don't just stare at me blankly. If it's not clear.
No, I'm waving wildly and saying yes, understand.
Okay.
Hey, here, just can't hear me.
Yeah. Have we ever done a Hanter Dro before? Have we ever danced one? They are delightful, and that's literally all they are. And they tend to have somebody leading at one end of the snake, and they snake around the room and twist in on each other. They're very sociable dances.
I saw Catherine doing the hands.
Yeah.
I can never remember which dances go with the little fingers and which ones don't, but I recognised it when I saw
a Hanter Dro doesn't have hands with it. It's just kind of, you're just kind of arm in arm. There's no kind of movement. That's how I've done them. It's not to say that they're never is, but it's just something that tends to be done, you know, kind of snugly holding, sort of looping through like this. It's kind of like a weird little crossover arm, but there is maybe just the most gentle of kind of shoulder movements, but it's nothing like an andro or a lariday, which have the little pinky fingers going. Yeah, and they're all kind of versions very subtly different in the footwork, but yeah, this one is over 6 beats. So there is that moment of pause. So we're just at the moment just exploring the melody by listening and moving our body to it, so that when we come to learn it, we can start to understand how these phrasings, the emphasis, the feel comes together when we start to put it on the instrument. Okay, so yeah, unfortunately not the clean beginning I wanted. I wanted to hear the video and see my feet, but obviously I shared the screen and shared the YouTube video. But what I'll do at the very end is just to make sure that we get a clean video of the feet, to make sure that you can go away and have that. All right. So let's pick up our instruments, and the first thing I want to do, this is to check that we've got what we've got in front of us here, and anyone that's watching later on, just to make sure that we've got an instrument that is capable of doing Dave the Watchman, which comes later. It's the second tune. Sandy asked for a tune that made her explore her extra chords and basses. Now, I am a teacher that doesn't have a 12 bass DG box, but I do know what versions exist in the world, so I will very much be kind of offering a chance for you guys to go exploring to see what you've got on your instruments. Dave the Watchman is in C major, and the chords for C major that are required are a C, an E minor, a G and an F. Now the F is where we might run into a few issues. Do we have F natural? Do you know if you have F natural? Now I've put the question out there. I asked Sandy and Polly. Sandy does and Polly doesn't, I think. So the options that you have, if you don't have an F natural, is to use a D. And if we want to, for instance, move on and play the melody, we play it against a D. But if we wanted to do a right hand accompaniment, we've got an F natural in our accidentals. If we have accidentals, hopefully we've got accidentals. And that will actually give a bit of a D minor feel, okay? So the opposite, the relative minor of F major is D minor. So they can be interchangeable. It will obviously change the harmony. It will change it to a little bit more of a darker colour, a bit more of a stormy sky, rather than the bright freshness that Dave the Watchman gives. But don't worry about that. You know, chords in my mind are interchangeable, and you've got to make it fit on your instrument at the end of the day. So check to see if you've got an F on your box. It will sound like this. And you'll also, to follow what's exactly written, you'll need to play that against an E, either an E bass or an E chord. If you can't do that, if the directions are, you know, opposite, don't worry, the F will suffice. It's just a tonality thing that they've put the F/E, but you can just sail away holding on the F. So that's just going to like set you up for later on in this block. When we come to look at Dave the Watchman, we're going to need an F or some form of substitute, which is a D. That is our kind of common way of getting around that issue. All right, so coming back to Lilac, let's get into this and make sure that we can have a little play with this melody. We're also going to take a moment, maybe today, to look at it in both octaves as well. All right. Now, I'm just going to start by playing just the A music of Lilac, just so it sets the scene. You can see it on the instrument, and we'll start off just like that, how we want to continue. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's start off just with a pen and paper if you've got it to hand. We'll just get these chords written down very quickly. The first bar is an E minor to a C, both on the pull. I use underlines for pull. I'll do it at the same time because we've got some fresh blood here today. So yeah, I use underline for pull just so that visually when we come to look at chord charts we can see what direction we're working in. Okay, so bar number 1 is E minor to C, and then we've got a D to a G, both on the push, so they are just left not underlined. Okay, and then bar number 3, sorry, we're working in long bars, is E minor to C again, and then D to G for bar 4. Okay, that's it. That's literally it. So that's all we've got. That's all I play. There's a little bit more in the book written down, but we'll just stick with this for now as our basic chords unit. Previous blocks we've taken basic chords and we've extrapolated, we've done other things with them. That is very much within your capability to do. Maybe we're not going to look at that here today, but it's something that you can take away and work out what other chords do you want to put in there that are going to fit with the rhythm of the dance, okay? So now that we've got some structure with the directions, we can now instruct what the right hand does. We can find where the row crosses are in respect of what the chord is that's going with it. Hopefully that makes sense, because if we learn the right hand before we've got what the left hand's doing, then we're going to be all over the place. It's going to be a bit higgledy-piggledy. And this is a tune that warrants a little bit of smoothness and softness, so the row crossing definitely helps with that. Alright, so we'll learn it down the octave to begin with. We're starting on a B, on the pull, on that outside row. So just locate that. If any Castagnari owners are out there, maybe that's all of us now because Sandy's got her Maury. It's usually the character button, I find. Maybe it's different depending on the number of buttons, but that one that they print on. Okay. And then we just walk down the triangle from the B to the A to the G. Okay, nice little triangle. Let's try that all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again. One, two, three, four, five, six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Keep that going. Just want to talk about the bellows counting. I tried to count over the top of that melody and my brain just wouldn't let my mouth do it. So I'm using my bellows as a better instruction. So watch the screen if you want the count. Okay, so you're seeing that little bellows waggle. Definitely recommend that you try to do it as well. It's a very gentle way to just in-build the pulse of the tune underneath what you're doing. Okay. Hopefully that's starting to feel okay. It's nothing too strenuous melody-wise, but rhythmically there's already some stuff going on there because that very last note that we hit contains beat number 4, beat number 5 and beat number 6. So as we know from the footwork, that last note that we play bridges the gap between us shifting weight. Okay, so the very last 1, 2, 3, 4 was the pause whilst our weight was over to the left. Okay, can we just remind ourselves of that, remind our body of that. 1, 2, 3, 4 is that little pause, and then we go back for the 2 beats back. Da 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 da. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that note, the last note we play, has already started before our weight has shifted across. This is where we get into rhythms that go across the bar line, rhythms that go across each other, cross rhythms, okay? So there's that little cross rhythm in what our body is doing against the music. Just want to highlight it here. Let's just take a little moment. I'm going to try and wiggle along as I play. If you can do that as well, it's going to be so beneficial, all right? So just sticking with these notes, nice and gently, and we're just going to wiggle along with it. I'll close my eyes because I'm going to have to concentrate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tricky. I cocked it up a couple of times there, but to highlight in the melody, we've got these double notes that are coming down the ladder. It's the fourth one there, or the first of the G's, if you like. Sorry, the second of the G's, the beginning of the long note. That is where we're still paused. Over on the left side, we're holding the weight on our left leg and we're paused with the right leg in the air, but the note has doubled up, all right? So at that point we should be paused with our right leg in the air, and then it's the rest of the length of that note, the last 2 beats that it contains, where we take the weight back onto our right foot. Okay? I won't spend any more time on that now. I feel like I'm already drumming it in a bit much, and you know, I think it's gonna come over time, but keep it in mind as we go. That's the bit on the pull for bar 1. Okay. Then we end it all on the push, finding these notes out. Starts on the F sharp. Should be the middle finger to the index finger. That's the way that the pattern's led us. Okay, so it's an F to a D, and then an A to a push B this time. Adding 1 note there, we're landing back at G with the index finger, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see if we can get all of that, adding a few more notes onto this pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, all of this is on the push. Now, we're playing this quite steadily, so those at the front are quavers, so it will at a little bit more speed. And I'm finishing off the bar with a B and a C. Okay, so that middle finger's got to shoot over to get those notes. Okay, roll it round. starting to bed in under the fingers. I know, Catherine, you're new to me. Tell me, is this a good speed? Is it too fast? Is it too slow? You can unmute, you can talk.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with this.
Awesome, glad to hear that. I know for everyone else, hopefully it's all right as well. Big thumbs up from the new Maury there. Yeah. Are you on the Benny as well, Polly? Awesome, fab. Castagnari Club today. All right, let's try both those bars together and just loop it round, okay? I am trying to do the counting with my voice. I am going to cock it up. I'm not going to do that today. I apologise for anyone that needs it, but just keep watching the screen if you need that little ticking clock. All right. So starting off with that right hand, I'm going to gently put the left hand in as well. If you need that, follow it along. No pressure to do that though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Couple more. Let's leave it there. I just wanted to attempt a little shuffle because it's good to try it. And it might just mean that what you end up doing to begin with is just left, right, left, right, left, right. That would be a really good way in. Leave the little pause for now. That's where I found it went a bit wobbly. I don't tend to play and dance at the same time, but I think it is really beneficial. I do play and move, and that's a great way into it. But obviously doing the dance steps, and particularly if you're new to Hanter Dro as well, it's you know, it's a bit much to ask. Let's pause for conversation. Keep playing in the background. That's the beauty of online if you want to noodle away. But somebody feedback. How is this? How's this going? And starting to feel in the bellows as well.
For me, it's a really good opportunity to practice that bellows. I don't know what you call it, that
Pulsing.
Sort of pulsing in the bellows that we did last time. And I haven't absorbed it yet, but it's nice to be able to do it here because it makes a lot of sense of the rhythm because the notes don't line up with the bits of the rhythm that I want to emphasise.
Yeah, I think that doing the bellows pulsing, it really points out where that fourth beat is kind of in between notes, isn't it? Or it's kind of a note has started when that fourth beat lands, or the fifth beat. You know, between the fourth and the fifth beat, there is that little bit of magic in the way that this tune's been constructed, I think. And that's obviously the point in the dance where the dancer is shifting weight. So there's something in there that's playful in our bodies as well as being playful in the music. That's kind of the point I'm trying to make there, is, you know, just directing our attention to where that shift happens and also, you know, musically how that is arranged. Grand. There's not a lot more to this A music. It's pretty much it. So well, if that's okay, if nobody else has got anything they want to offer, you don't have to all jump in, by the way. We'll go on to the last 2 bars, which is pretty much the same, just with a small pause and then a little run up, which is very, very pleasant. Let me just double check we're all muted, yeah. So this is at bar 3 and bar 4, the end of the A music, alright. Okay, so we've got an extra bit of pause. We do come to the G, but it's for 3 beats that we land on that G. And then we use the final beat of the bar to climb, yeah, or even that. So it's an F sharp to a G to an A, and then we stay on that push A, and it becomes the pull B. So it's that nice little same button, different direction jobby. So let's try and get a loop of that last 2 bars. If it's not clear, it will become clear. We'll get a nice loop going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a really interesting one. I think that there's almost this idea that on that occasion, for me, the step back is like putting out a cigarette. It's like we stomp off the tune, da ba da da, and then it kind of continues forward from that point. I appreciate that not everyone at this precise moment in time is able to put the dance steps and the feeling and everything all together. So it's probably going to come in stages. But if I don't say it now, then you'll never know what's going on up here and what I want you to be aware of at a later date. But yeah, a nice way to start getting into the feeling of a tune. You mentioned at the beginning, Catherine, that it's not something that you've ever found easy, like playing for continental sort of French bal folk, that kind of thing. It's never felt like you can get the groove of it. But for me, it all comes from the bellows. So just sort of being able just to gently hum along, and in a very even way, even though the footwork isn't even, each of those beats, each of those pulses has to be, because that's where the footwork gets grouped from, if that makes sense. So for the footwork to work, it has to come from an even little hum, buzz, pulse, whatever you want to call it, like a hurdy-gurdy trompette. That's kind of what we're trying to think of in those bellows. Okay, let's loop round this A music, and then we'll have a bit of time to look at it in the top octave as well, get a little bit of finger stretch going on and work out if the notes feel the same up there. All right, nice and gentle then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, guys. One more. Okay. I'm going to come back to the B music next time. We'll just stick with the A. I wanted to sort of gently ease you in and really focus on the rhythm of this. That was coming together for me, personally. The dance, I was starting to get it, particularly on that, the first long note. It's a dotted minim. I will provide the sheet music. It will be down below the post once it's posted. So it's the sort of second beat. When that note hits, the second beat, you want to bring that out because that's where the foot stamps back. It's not something you want to make as obvious as I just did, but just to be aware that it's the second beat of that long note where the weight shifts. So just kind of hinting to the dancer, this is what I want you to do now. I want you to shift your weight, and that's like a mini emphasis in that middle. It's beat number 5 in each case, okay? So just try and look out for that. That beat number 5 is where the weight shifts back in each bar. But melodically, it might not be that that emphasis is required each and every time. So that's something to be aware of, okay? So over the 2-bar phrase, we've talked about this idea of there being a 2-bar phrase before the feet feel right again and that you can start fresh. It's the first bar of the 2-bar phrase where that 5th beat feels like it needs that extra gut punch. But then in bar 2, beat number 5, for me doesn't feel like it needs to be as present, even though the footwork will be the same. Does that make sense? So even though for 2 bars the feet are doing exactly the same, melodically the phrase is over 2 bars, but you want the feeling to be slightly different. So it's kind of, yeah, the footwork's the same, but maybe we want the dancer to feel slightly differently about it the second time in the second bar. There's just that softness for me in the second bar of the 2-bar phrase, okay? It's just the way I interpret, you know, their playing of it, their kind of, their creation of it, the way it's written on the page, and hopefully you'll be able to see that when you look at it. All right, enough waffle. Let's come up to this top octave. It's good to get up here every now and again. I love top octave on a DG box. And interestingly, me and Toon, we shared a lovely conversation in November at Halsey. He really likes DG and he loves the squeaky end of it. So we've got very similar ears, I think, in that way. A lot of people hate it up here. I love it. So we're finding the same notes, and hopefully we're hoping that the pattern for the fingers is going to be the same. Let's have a little wander around and see if that's the case, all right? So let's try. That's the same. Okay. Now, here, where it switches to push, it's not going to work the same for you guys, unfortunately. We have to jump down a button. This is just something to, if you're not already used to playing in the top octave, it might catch you out. You're expecting to be able to just reverse that button, but unfortunately you have to jump down in order to get that push F sharp. But once you have jumped down, the whole hand position fits the same as it did before, okay? And the same thing here, you can't just reverse that button because you're not going to get what you expect, and you have to jump up a button. Okay, so just a little introduction if you're not already used to it. I'm sure most people sat in front of me are, but I thought it'd be worth saying. Let's try then this A music in the top octave. We'll go for a nice loop, and you can organise your fingers for these extra little jumps that are now needed. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just a little note on the left hand side. I know that Polly will be like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just lifting, I'm droning, essentially. It's what I call a rhythmical drone. So the chord gets droned, but I'm vamping the bass. And I'm just trying to pull out a few beats. I wasn't really thinking about it too much. I was just going with what I felt. So it's not necessarily being taken from the footwork. Just to let you know, it wasn't me trying to direct feet. So it kind of helps, you know, it helps to sort of define where the pulse is coming out, and potentially does match up with the feet as well. That's obviously the aim of the game, but it doesn't have to. There's a lot of playfulness, and the way, for me, Naragonia play for dance is they expect the dancer to know what they're doing, so they can then have a bit of freedom with where they're putting, bit of syncopation, and, you know, having, you know, a relaxed approach to rhythm. They're very good, obviously, they're masters playing for dance. They very much tell you what you need to do. But for me, this tune, there's playfulness in it, and they're kind of taking a bit of a liberty with that in the most beautiful way. So don't feel like you have to restrict yourself to only moving the bass when the feet move, because it can get a bit static then, which is the opposite of what you want. Anything? Let's kind of like summarize what we've got here. Both octaves. Bit of left hand stuff on the end there, but mostly it's about feeling that inbuilt pulse and how it fits with the feet. So yeah, how is it all starting to bed in together? mainly just on the instrument rather than in your body and the instrument together.
I'm a long way from getting my body to do what the music is doing at the same time, but everything else is going all right.
It's definitely tricky, and I don't necessarily, I want to reiterate, I don't necessarily expect that to be the outcome of, you have to dance and play, like that's not it, but it is helpful to do one and then the other and vice versa, you know, because they feed into each other.
I think I've got a sense of that, not all the bits of the rhythm, but those two key beats, and it's almost like I can sort of do that in the right sort of places. So that's a start.
It's a slight kind of unbalanced ness, isn't it? Like a little, you know, those water features that fill a bucket and then bloop. It's kind of like, for me, it's like, oh, and the bucket's full, and there's that kind of feeling of, you know, anticipating it coming, and then it just falls over. Yeah. I just want to make sure I've got the feet. The feet recorded, just so it's nice and clear on the screen, and I'll chapter it so that it will be kind of, you know, obvious to just click on it when you want to jump and see my smelly feet dancing. They're not actually that smelly, I have cleaned them. Right. So I'll just sing, rather than share the music, I'll just sing it, because then I know that you'll actually see me dancing at the same time. Right. Lovely bit of manual handling here. So, left foot leads. You're going in a circle in that direction. Imagine you're holding hands with other people. And then the right foot is your... You end up, by the way, in a lot of Breton dances, you end up with really achy legs because there'll be one leg that's holding you up more than the other. These are very much that kind of dance. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Da 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 da. 1, 2, 3. Pause. 1, 2, 3. Pause back. 1, 2, 3. Pause back. 1, 2, 3. Pause back. Da ba da ba da ba ba da ba da da ba dum da be da 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 ba da da ba da be da ba ba dee da dee da be da da ba da ba dum da dee da ba da ba da ba da ba da. Da 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 ba da ba da dum da dee da dee dum da 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 ba da ba da ba da ba da da ba da ba da 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 dee da dee dum da be da ba da ba da be da yum da ba da. You see how it kind of gathers itself at the end? And it really makes you want to go forward in certain places. For me, the B music feels more intuitive with what the feet want to do. So maybe next time we'll have another go at the dancing and playing, and we'll see if that feels easier on the B music. So yeah, thank you for putting up with my slightly scrappier approach today. I feel like I've been manhandling the camera all over the place and sharing things, but it's sometimes how my brain works is just like, let's just get this out of my brain and into the room and see how people interpret it. And I find it usually goes down okay. I get my point across somehow. And you're always so lovely to feedback when things don't quite make sense and I can tweak it. But that hasn't happened today, I'm pleased to say. Or at least I hope it hasn't. You can always tell me if it doesn't, by the way. Yeah. So enjoy this A music. By all means go on to the B if you want, but that will spoil next lesson. I would say just stick with this. I'm all for a non-overwhelming approach, and we've all got a lot of stuff going on. So stick with the A music, really focus on that inbuilt rhythm, and have a boogie with it. You know, try and learn that Hanter Dro. If you've got some mates, that's really fun to dance with other people because you're all kind of moving as one big snake. Give it a go. Yeah. And stay in touch in between times. You've got me by email if you need me, and if you want to share anything with the group along the way. Yeah. So I will, once my website's back up and running, hopefully not very long. They did say 24 hours maximum. I'll be able to get this uploaded, but I'll let you know when it's up there. All right. So I'll send an email like usual. Anyone want to say anything before we go?
I just want to tell everybody that I can only do the first 2 of this block. So when I disappear for the last 2, it's not because I've given up or because I don't like it. I'm on holiday for the last 2 block of this block, so I will miss the last 2, but I will catch up with them on the video. But yeah, it won't be personal or anything. I want you to know that now, because I'm loving it.
Excellent.
Yeah, lovely tune. Lovely tune.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I think it's so meditative in the way they play it as well. The guitar for me really stands out. I love the guitar on this. Yeah, I haven't actually seen the quartet live, but when they play it, just the duo, it's still dreamy. But I miss the guitar part.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, and I like the. I've not worked with the bellow as a rhythm, so I'll use that. And
Yeah.
I know that they create magic, don't they?
They really do. They weave it.
It's just amazing. I saw them at the in Somerset, you know, with Bellows Abela.
Yeah.
Ballsway Manor. Just amazing.
They did the festival, didn't they? Bellows Festival.
Yes, yeah, they were amazing. Yeah.
Incredible. Thank you ever so much, everyone, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. It will be the 7th of June, so take good care and see you then.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye.